Welcome back to another episode of Time Out with Dr. Kaleb Stoppel. We'll be right back with Kaleb, but first let's hear from our podcast sponsors. We want to welcome our newest sponsor, Gipper, to the Educational AD podcast. Gipper is the way that athletic directors, teams, and coaches can create world-class marketing content. You can create custom branded content for your school's social media channels in seconds on any device and without needing any design experience. It's so simple, even I can use it. Go to Gipper.com for more information and watch for Gipper's new promo on the Educational AD podcast. We also want to thank Huddle. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. Over 200,000 teams use Huddle to help their teams play better using video and analytics. Huddle is the complete performance platform. In addition to online tools, they have smart cameras, they have analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle is also built for every level of play, from club and youth teams all the way through high schools and colleges, and even the pros use Huddle to help their teams play at the highest level. You're in pretty good company with over 6 million users, including your student athletes and the coaches of the college teams you're trying to get to recruit them. If you want to find out more about what Huddle can do for you and your program and how your school can become a Huddle school, go to huddle.com and talk to their professionals. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. You can find out more about what Hometown Ticketing can do for you and your program by going to hometownticketing.com and talk to their experts. Hometown Ticketing, simple and easy online ticketing. We also want to say thanks to Final Forms, the industry leader in registration. But Final Forms is more than just forms. Final Forms is a team, it's technology, and they provide schools with compliance, communication, and risk management solutions. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile accessibility, and it has reminders for parents about policies, about physicals, and all the forms that go with having an athlete in the house. Final Forms also helps with team communication and attendance, and even certification management for coaches. And for athletic directors, Final Forms can help with eligibility, with rosters, and all the reports that come across your desk. And it does this with secure language translation and ADA compliance. To take the next steps and talk to a team that's walked in your shoes, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake to see exactly what Final Forms can do for you. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack also connects you with the 95% of the parents and the student athletes who really love your program, and it gives them a voice to help demonstrate the importance that a positive athletic experience has for them. Go to athleticsurveys.com and check out their testimonials, and then give them a call at 1-800-738-6466, or you can email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the folks at Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive. Their indoor scoring tables and video boards can generate $10,000 or more every year while creating the ultimate game day experience for your athletes. Go to sidelineinteractive.com to schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. See exactly what their fantastic products can do for you. We also want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. They've got a variety of interactive touchscreen consoles and an entire library of templates to help recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments by going to vitalsignswalloffame.com. You can also call them at 614-981-3589 or email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. Remember, their mission is to bring your school's legacy to life. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Time Out with Kaleb Stoppel. For new listeners, Dr. Kaleb Stoppel, longtime athletic director in the state of Kansas, very active at the state and the national level. He is in the middle of transitioning. That's kind of the theme for today's episode, to a new position. So I'm going to turn it over. Dr. Stoppel, what do you have for us this week on Time Out?
All right. Hey, thanks, Jake. Good to see you, buddy. Hello, and thanks for everybody tuning in. So as Jake mentioned, today I'm going to talk about, and over the next few episodes, we're going to talk about transitioning from one job to another, and not just a job or a role within the same organization, but actually changing organizations. And in my case, I'm moving, my family and I are moving from the Kansas City area on the Kansas side to the Wichita area, Wichita Central South area of the state of Kansas, a school district of 50,000 students. And so, and I've had a couple job changes throughout my career, like many of us likely have, but this is one of the first ones where we are literally moving and we're going through all of the boxing up the house, moving truck. Okay. So we're going to jump into this and talk about this from a few points here. We're going to first focus on when you're leaving, when you are exiting an organization, what are some things you have to keep in mind? And where I want to start today, and then we'll kind of expand maybe into another episode. But today I want to talk about how we transition our relationships, okay? Because I think we might be foolish to think that in the system of education, our job and our system, maybe unlike many other systems out there, is very dependent on relationships. There are very systematic things that happen on a daily basis. There are very much managerial items that we have to complete and check off and be responsible for as athletic administrators. But again, we'd be silly and we'd be lying to ourselves if we said that our job as an educational leader wasn't to develop and to maintain and to grow relationships with those that we work with. And so as you're transitioning to a new organization, obviously it's important in how we say goodbye, and that likely we don't just want to cut all of our relationships off and say, all right, well, yep, I'm not even going to say goodbye. I'm just going to hit the road and, I'll see you when I see you. For some individuals that may work because, we come across a lot of people in our profession, and we may not literally have time to say goodbye to everyone. But I want to go through and kind of bullet point a couple of healthy reminders, because again, the purpose of this conversation today and through this series is to talk about our mental health and keeping our mental fitness sharp, but also making sure that we protect ourselves and protect that mental health, because we need to come out of a transition stronger. And if anything, at minimum, we can't afford to take any steps back or any hits in our mental health either. And so the first suggestion that I would make is to protect your time and your energy. And what that means is you're going to have a lot of people that you want to say goodbye to. You're going to have a lot of people that want to see you before you leave town, whether that means, physically spending time together, having, a lunch or a dinner together, meeting during happy hour, or maybe even just sitting down in a formal meeting because there's some things that they want to discuss professionally with you. People will want your time, and you will want to give some of that time back. But my friends, what I'm experiencing right now is, unfortunately, you don't have that much time, and you don't necessarily have that much energy, because we would like to give all that time and energy, but likewise, we have some obligations to maybe other people, family, maybe close friends that maybe aren't even in the professional realm. Or perhaps you just need to keep your own individual needs in check because you're spending a lot of time physically packing up boxes. You have some other to-dos in your mind, like, okay, I got to transfer over my address to the new place. I have to get my utility bills switched over. So you have a lot of commitments when you are literally moving and transitioning. So you need to protect your time and energy. Specifically, be very careful when juggling your time with friends versus family. My own situation, I have 2 young kids. I have a wife that we're all trying to work through packing a house, making sure everyone stays pretty positive with the move, especially with my little kids, that this is their first move. And so I have had to remind myself that I can't see all of the friends and all of the professional networks that I want to see, and that's okay. And I have to say no to some, requests. Hey, let's grab a quick happy hour. Let's grab a quick dinner. I'm so sorry. That's just not going to work out. But, fortunately, it's not like I'm moving across the whole country. It's not like we're never going to see each other again. It's not like I can't just pick up my phone and call or text those individuals, but we have to be honest. Okay, so that's the first little reminder and requirement, really, that I'm really highly suggesting. Protect your time and your energy. The next that I will, the next reminder that I'll encourage you to is to literally make a plan. No one wants to be surprised and to be kind of upended and be running out of time, and the moving truck has arrived, and no one wants to be unprepared. And so literally bullet pointing out, making a schedule, updating your calendar will be worth every moment that you spend to put into that, especially, again, if there's others involved, like family, children, your spouse, because that time is precious. That goes back to my first reminder. And so sitting down either with yourself or with your family and kind of outlining, okay, working backwards. This is the day that the moving trucks are literally pulling out of the driveway and we are driving to our new home and new destination. Working backwards. What do we need to do from that day? All right, we're going to need a couple days to load the moving truck, or a day, or, this is when our house is closing. So we're going to need to make sure we have stuff packed up. Work backwards from them and schedule those extra things accordingly with your priorities. The priorities, like, hey, our stuff's got to get packed up. It's not just going to pack up itself. We're going to have to move at a certain date, and then prioritize the people you're going to spend time with. And unfortunately, like we do in our daily jobs, schedule that time. Because again, no one wants to be surprised. You don't want to let your family members down. You don't want to let your friends down by having to go back and saying, hey, I'm so sorry that you guys coordinated to get some friends together and stuff, and then I have to bail at the last minute because of something I forgot or something that I overbooked. Okay, so make a plan, and that's going to be important through this. And then, the last point that I'll kind of add with this is we, again, see a lot of different relational ups and downs in our profession. We won't always make people happy with decisions we have to make. We want to have healthy relationships. We want to have positive relationships. But the reality is, when you're in a decision-making role, you will not always make people happy. And so there may be some relationships that are coming to mind that may not be the most positive right now that you're leaving. And some of those, you may make the decision that that's okay. You might have left someone on a little bit heated terms, and maybe there was a conflict, an argument, a disagreement that happened most recently. And maybe that's weighing on your mind and your heart a little bit. And maybe that's not weighing on you. Okay. But my suggestion and recommendation is that you really listen closely to those feelings. Remember, it's okay to be emotional. We're talking about, your mental health. We're talking about our role in education. And remember, there's emotions in education. Okay. And it's okay to embrace those. So my suggestion would be to really be in tune with kind of what your heart is telling you with some of those relationships. And if you feel that there is a relationship that is worth mending in that kind of 11th hour, if you will, that you're moving physically on to a new organization, you're not going to work with that coach or that other individual in your organization in the same role, But if it's meaningful to you to try to make things right, prioritize that time and reach out to that individual to try and at least find resolution with that individual and with that situation. Because again, you and only you will know yourself and how you want to end things on what terms. And there may be some situations that you are content with, hey, I'm leaving this colleague. Well, we weren't best friends. We still aren't best friends, but you know what? That's okay. No love lost. And that's still a colleague that, if you ran across to in a professional setting, at a conference, at an athletic event, you'd be cordial, and that's okay. But you're going to set the definition and the boundaries for that. And then you need to trust that and you need to run with it. Okay. Because again, at the end of the day, you need to be content with finding resolution in leaving one organization in good terms. Some say leaving an organization better than you found it. You need to have resolution with how you're leaving that job, that organization, so that you can give yourself the best chance to start in the most positive, open-minded light of your new organization with those new relationships moving forward. All right. Because again, the way I kind of put a bow on this is all of this that I've mentioned, those three kind of reminders, will help support your own closure, that resolution with your own organization, and it will support your own mental transition. There's going to be physical components. You literally got to pack the truck or your stuff's not going to get moved. You literally will have to, have some professional duties that will be waiting for you in the new organization. But your heart and your mind have to be okay with what's happening and what's coming. And again, you and only you are going to be responsible for that. But these are some tips that will help you as you navigate that, while also remembering to keep your family and your friends close. In previous episodes, if you've had the chance to listen, we talked about your support system. And that is one of the biggest tools that will help you when you are navigating life as an athletic administrator, and help you find that balance. Is you have to seek support from your support system. And this is exactly just another one of those scenarios where you need help from that support system.
Well, as I was listening to you share, in my career, I've moved multiple times, sometimes across the street and a couple of times across the country. And all those, let's say, tasks that you mentioned, both, the physical move, as well as the things you need to take care of at your other school, certainly come into play. And I was just playing back those scenarios as they worked with me. Very good stuff. Thanks so much for sharing, and all the best on your new adventure. As always, if one of our listeners wants to reach out and get in touch with you, pick your brain a little bit, what's the best way that they can get in touch with Kaleb Stoppel?
Yeah, very good. I love connecting with folks across the nation that are listening to Jake's podcast and just pursuing athletic administration. My email address would be the best way, and that is kstoppel@usd259.net. The other good place that you can find me is on social media, on Twitter, and that is at Dr. Kaleb, Kaleb Stoppel, Stoppel. So at Dr. Kaleb Stoppel on Twitter.
Dr. Kaleb Stoppel, Wichita Public Schools. Thanks so much for sharing. All the best with your new move coming up.
All right. Thank you, sir. And thanks everybody for listening.
For our listeners, remember, we do this every Tuesday, Time Out with Dr. Kaleb Stoppel. Also, the Zoom recordings of our interviews get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Come back next week for more Time Out wisdom, and just about every day for the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next week. We want to thank all of our sponsors for helping support Time Out with Dr. Kaleb Stoppel and the Educational AD Podcast. I want to thank Final Forms, the industry leader in registration. Final Forms helps your stakeholders with mobile accessibility, with team communication, and helps athletic directors with eligibility rosters and all the things that come across your desk. For more information, go to finalforms.com/Jake. That's finalforms.com/Jake. Also want to thank Sideline Interactive. Their scoring tables and video boards can not only raise you money, but create the ultimate game day experience for your athletes. Reach out to Sideline Interactive at sales@sidelineinteractive.com. See exactly what their fantastic products can do for you. That's sales@sidelineinteractive.com. We also want to thank Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. Remember, their mission is to bring your school's legacy to life. Their interactive touchscreen consoles can help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments. Go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Or email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to thank Huddle for their support. Remember, at Huddle, we power sports. They are known for their video and their analytics, but there is so much more. They have mobile apps, they have smart cameras. Go to huddle.com to find out how your school and your teams can become a Huddle school, Huddle program. Also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack. They sponsor the AD Toolbox segment of our regular podcast. Athletic Surveys by Lifetrack allow you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire program. Go to athleticsurveys.com or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com to get started. Let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. We also want to thank Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com and talk to their experts about how Hometown Ticketing can help you. And finally, we want to say thanks to our newest sponsor, Gipper. Gipper is how athletic directors and coaches can create custom branded content for their school's social media site. It is so easy to use that even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com for more information and tell them that you heard about it on the Educational AD podcast. Thanks again for listening, everyone. We'll see you next time on Time Out with Dr. Kaleb Stoppel on the Educational AD podcast.